Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Leaders Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Pinong, and I interview CEOs, athletes, executives, people that have sold $100 million, over $100 million in real estate. And for what, you may ask? A great question. To ask them questions they have never been asked so that you can learn something you have never learned. Interesting, right? But today I have a man that has sold. Actually, let me summarize a little bit more. At age 23, had this entrepreneurship like mindset, hit and miss, nothing ever really hit. Got his license at 23. Three
Did
years
his
later,
research. Did his research.
3 years later, sold over $100 million in real estate. Pretty impressive. But I'm talking about no other than Alexis Valladares. So,
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate
brother,
you for having me.
good having you.
It's a pleasure. You
So,
did your research, bro.
yeah, I did. I
like
watched some
it.
podcasts. I have to say, it's good to meet the man behind the videos. It's very, very different. I'm very interested in your story because I believe you're at a point, you're not where you want to be, but you've set up the foundation to be a hell of a lot further than where you were.
Correct.
Okay. And my question is, you preach a lot about like you have this consistent schedule. You wake up at 4:30, you go do cold baths, you go to the gym. You're very strict with your schedule.
Right.
Do you think having such a strict schedule is the only way to be successful?
Absolutely not, man. I think having some sort of personal development in the morning, I always say this is very important and crucial. But for example, today I didn't wake up at 4:30, right? I went to sleep a little bit later. I was working. And I've been kind of learning as I go that if you don't really fucking sleep, bro, you're not gonna really perform.
Okay.
So I've been, I got my whoop that I wear when I go to bed, and I make sure that I get at least my 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep, and that way I can perform. So there's people that fall in love, and I know Hermosi says this a lot.
Okay.
Don't fall in love with your morning routine. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to cross every T, dot every I every single morning to have a great day. But it's really important to pour into yourself in the mornings.
Yeah.
The best days that I have could be a nice bath day or could not be a nice bath day, but
Yeah.
the key to that is to anybody watching, if they want to get their morning started, is to make sure you have some sort of positive feed your brain something positive in the morning, because we tend to wake up and what's the first thing we do?
Look at
Boom,
Instagram.
grab
or
the phone,
something.
grab the
Yeah.
phone, right? And for the most part, anything that you're going to consume on there is going to be negative. So if you just push that away for a little bit, and whether it's going to the gym, getting in the car, driving, doing a cold bath, a sauna, whatever the case is, or just getting in a cold shower and doing 100 push-ups, reading affirmations, being grateful for whatever, that's a huge key for me too, right? Like you just said, I'm definitely not where I want to be, but this is exactly where I wanted to be 3 years ago, right? I just didn't dream big enough 3 years ago. So now I'm like, yo,
Interesting.
exactly what I dreamt of back then is what happened now. So why not dream bigger now? But
Interesting.
definitely personal development in the morning is important, because the world is negative, brother.
Yeah.
And if you consume negative, your day is going to be negative. I'll stop it here.
No worries.
Before you go to bed, try to think about something positive. Try to go to sleep with a positive thought. Whatever happened in your life that day, shut it off. A lot of entrepreneurs go to sleep with a lot of stress and baggage on their shoulders. And when I first started, that affected me. So I would roll through the days negatively. But when you just learn how to, say, I started with, that's another thing. Where if you start with nothing, it's a privilege, because if you know where the bottom is, you have no problem going back.
I heard you say that.
Just go to sleep, take everything off your shoulders, wake up the next day. It's a new day. It's a new opportunity. Another day above ground is a great day. Everything else you can handle, bro. If you're in the hospital or fighting for your life, that's a little bit different. But if you're just fighting because the deal's going to fall through, the appraisal didn't come in, or maybe you're not where you're at in life, and it gets to me too, but you just got to understand, bro, today was better than yesterday. You're above ground. Anything finance related can be handled, bro. Period.
It's interesting. And I think two things interesting that you said. Number one, you didn't wake up early today. And I think that's important to humanize it, because you see all these people that they post, yo, get up at 4:30, get up at 4:30, do all this stuff. And it's true. It will ultimately.
It is, yeah.
Discipline is very important. It says in the Bible to love discipline, right? But you have to humanize it. Sometimes you miss the mark, and that's okay.
Correct.
That's not the problem. The problem is if you miss the mark and don't get back on track.
There you go.
That is the trick. Another thing I found interesting is the thing you said about Hormozy, right? God, I got a brain fart. Oh my God.
It happens.
This is the behind the scenes.
Happens.
It'll come back to me. But this is the raw aspect of doing a podcast. But
That's another thing. Humanize it, bro. People think that these humans or these leaders get on podcasts and they're just blah 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 blah. Like
yeah,
we don't, I didn't practice for this. Like this is what.
Yeah.
And as you go, like you're gonna get better at everything. And even the best of the best still fuck up.
Yeah.
Like basketball players still shoot 30-40% from the 3-point line and are considered the best in the world.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
what you see on Instagram, bro, is 90% fake. Not fake, but entrepreneurship is not what you see on Instagram. Like the successes are real. Everything is real. Like what you see here is real. You know, the cars that some of us drive are real. The watches that we wear are real. But the 90% that goes on behind the scenes to get here, brother. Even yesterday, I was having a fucking mental breakdown. You know, for like a good 30 minutes, I was like, yo, where we all lose it sometimes. Even though I'm the one that preaches it, I'm like, wait a second. 3 years ago, this is exactly what you wanted to be. So relax, take a deep breath. But I feel like people want, you know, they see these inspirational videos, motivational videos, and all these people being successful, but they don't even see half the things because we don't even like really get into it, right? On the podcast, it's a little superficial. We have an hour, 2 hours. But if there was a camera on my back
24/7
since I was 15 years old to now, people would be like, wow, dude, like you had so many opportunities to give up, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's the part that people don't understand is that anybody in a successful position, for the most part, really, really worked their ass off to get there.
And I think another thing with that, kind of going back to your story, to summarize it, right? Like I said, at 23, you had your golfing business. You said that you're an entrepreneur. You talked about that if somebody saw you in high school, they would have said, "Oh, I knew that you were gonna do this," right?
That's what they say now.
Yeah. But yeah, but nothing ever hit. Like nothing was like changed your life. It's like, oh, I can do this forever. This is the business I can scale. You just try to find your way.
Yeah.
And then you finally got your license. And you also mentioned that you were never really disciplined. You excused your late sleeping and your late waking up because you're a night owl, right? That was your
this man really did his research.
No, but that was something that you said. And let me ask you, was that discipline? Was it automatically as soon as you said, yo, I'm gonna get my license, I'm gonna dedicate myself? Was it like boom, switch, you got discipline, or was it a gradual process?
I think it was all the failures and bad experiences that I had before that really led the switch to be flipped, and that the last experience that I had before my license, which was moving to Wisconsin for 6 months and carrying golf bags in the freezing cold, was just like my turning point where I was like, dude, I'm so sick and tired of this. I know I'm smarter than this. I just got to apply myself and I got to take myself seriously because no one else will unless I do. And then I don't even know how to explain it, but if it wasn't for all the risks that I took prior throughout the previous years, opening up an auto detailing business, trying to sell chargers, fixing and flipping phones, buying and selling phantom boards, bro, I can name every single thing on the list that I've tried to do. All those experiences helped me mold the person I am today and the person I'm trying to become tomorrow. But it felt like overnight, but I coupled all those experiences and I was like, this is do or die, bro. I'm 23. And I think it's because I programmed myself when I was younger. I was like, if I'm not 23, 24, successful, or whatever the case is, I'm really going to feel it. And I was like, all right, it's go time, bro. I'm 23, 24. I got to get the fuck out of this position.
And I think something that is kind of glorified on Instagram, on social media, is that this new trend. And it's good because good pressure, right? I always think about it. You can pressure yourself now while you're young, when you're 20, you're 18. Pressure yourself, or you can wait later and the world is going to pressure you with all these responsibilities. And I think something that you said was interesting, that at the end of the day, it's not going to be overnight, right? But kind of like the story with Ben Franklin, he was the one that invented the light, Ben Franklin, I think. He had like 100 different things before he came with the light. But he was like, I didn't, what did he say? He had a famous quote that he said, I didn't fail. It just took me 100 times. 101 times to figure out to get it right. It's not that you failed, and it's interesting that you say that. But another thing that I want to ask you is that you didn't have the success early on, right? You made some money there, but it was nothing like what you have now. Where'd you find the belief in yourself that you could actually become a top producer?
I've always believed in myself since I was like 14, 15 years old. I always told my friends around me like these crazy things that I was gonna, I'm not even, what you said earlier is on point, right? Because I'm not even close to where I want to be. But my big breakthrough when I started real estate was like, yo, if I make 10K a month, that's a huge breakthrough, right? And now I find myself having multiple 6-figure months this year, and I'm like feeling further than the goals than ever. And that's a little bit crazy to put into perspective, because you're like, wait a second, 3 years ago I was just dreaming about the 10K a month. Now we're here. So I don't even know where I was going with that, but run me back to the question that you just asked. I was gonna say, I get lost.
No, it's okay. I was saying
it's crazy, bro.
No. You know. I think that's actually another raw moment, that you think in entrepreneurship, you think when you do something that your mind's always going to be clear. The truth is, you have a million different things in your mind,
Yeah.
and the ability to like break it down, to slow it down and say, okay, let me break it down, right? Let's say you got a marketing business, marketing podcast school. How can I break it down? And your mind is constantly this is that. And kind of, I'm gonna go back to a question, but I want to ask you something, because how do you slow down your mind? Because right now you have you're like you said, you have to do the real estate in order to prove your credibility in your training. So you still have to do that,
Correct.
right? You
Yeah.
have your training academy that you're doing,
Launching a media agency,
media agent.
running a
That's a
mortgage
that's
business,
that's a lot of
investing in
different things.
properties. It's
Mine is like all over the place.
yeah.
How do you find it to give your 100% in everything that you do?
Um, Giving in the 100% in everything I do is not hard because I love doing this,
Okay.
and it's what I asked for. But it's just having a big purpose. You know, I don't want to sound like everybody else, but it's true. If you have a big why when you wake up, that's gonna drive you to do things when you don't want to do it. I think people mistake in entrepreneurship and think that we just wake up every single day and we're like hyped and ready to go and like it's all perfect, 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 no problems. It's just solutions and just money coming in. It's not like that, bro. For a real estate agent in Miami, Florida, especially in this market, to close a big deal, it's something really, really difficult to do. So, entrepreneurship is so hard, and to keep that 100% every single time, it's just a mental. It's a choice. It's not a feeling. We don't go based off of feelings, right? Like Andrew Tate says, if you just based off your action on your emotions, you wouldn't do shit 95% of the time because you'd either be sad, not happy, depressed. But you got to wake up and do shit no matter what, bro, because you're gonna see the results on the long run. You know, everything that's happened now was from the action that I did 2-3 years ago, 23, 24, when I didn't even know where the fuck I was going, bro, to be honest with you. I just grinded my ass off. I closed off all my friends. I took out all the distractions, and I, in my mom's, house, in my little room that I had, just said, I'm just going to do this, bro. I'm going to die doing this, or I'm going to figure it out. That was kind of my mentality with real estate. And another key thing that I want to mention that I've mentioned before is that the 7 sources of income, right? Everybody talks about the 7 sources of income for millionaires. I think people get so caught up in trying to create that when they first start that they forget to create one really good source of income. You know, I always give this example in my trainings. If you have 7 water bottles, right, and they're all empty, you have one big water bottle, right, the provider, and you have 7 other water bottles that you're trying to fill up. If this one's empty, you can't fill these other water bottles up. But if you fill up one water bottle to the top, one good source of income that you're the best at, right? For me, it's real estate, being a real estate agent. Then you can pour into those other 7, right? So I didn't launch my mortgage business until I was a top producer. I didn't start investing into properties until I was making $30,000-$40,000 a month. I didn't think about starting a media agency until I was at the top of my real estate game, being, in the game for only 3 years.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of these other things until I was the best at this. So I know it's a little bit off topic, but to anybody watching, you got to figure out how to get good at one thing first. Don't, obviously you got to dabble. My dabbling was from 15 to 22. That was me trying things, entrepreneurship, launching a business, starting this, starting that. And I was like, none of this shit works, right? So I got to figure out one good thing that I can do and I can really monetize to then streamline the other sources of income. But I think people have it misconstrued in their head where they think, oh yeah, millionaires just have 7 sources of income because they did a side hustle here that made them 2K and then another one that did 2K. Bro, get good at one that makes you 100+ K a month.
Yeah.
And then pour into the other shit.
And I think something interesting when you look at, I think if you want to achieve a certain level of success, you said something right in a video that you can't be a millionaire hanging around with people that are making 100,000 a year. You have to elevate your people surround yourself with people that are greater than you. More than that, sometimes you're not going to be able to actually be in a room with those. So you have to find people you want to model after. One of them for me was Warren Buffett. I saw Warren Buffett. I was like, bro, that guy's a G. Not only because of the money he made, but how he made it, how consistent he was. He wasn't a billionaire till he was 60. He was extremely patient, extremely patient. Yeah. But if you look at all the ways that these billionaires made their money, right now you see, they have their capital managed, they have their conglomerates that they own hundreds of thousands of companies. Yeah. They're not start like that. I can promise you they had one good company, blew off, then there's was like, okay, boom. Then we separated. Same thing with making income, right? You get really, like you said, right? I think you can get really good at one thing and then, like you said, pour different things dabble on, because then that's when you obviously diversify and X your income. But I'm 18, right? Let's say for somebody,
you, brother.
Let's thank you, but let's say I say that because let's say someone out there, right, 18, early 20s, like you were, and 22 years old, They want to become the top salesman. They want to be the top person in their industry. What's the next 3 steps that they need to take?
The first step is belief. Believe in yourself, right? As easy as that sounds, truly, truly believe that you can accomplish anything you want. Because if you go back and you interview all my friends, my family members, when I was fucking 15 with negative $500 in his bank account every other day, I believed. I believed this moment was possible. I believe the moment in 5 years is possible. I believe the moment in 10 years is possible. There's never a doubt. I'm that kind of person, like Russ says. It's that feeling of like, I just know what's going to happen. I do get stressed sometimes and I get in my thoughts, but I tune out of that very quickly because I know I say it's either I'm going to die or I'm going to make it to exactly where I want to get to. So number one is having full, complete, utter self-belief, drawing out that vision in your head, and just knowing that one day, whether it's today, tomorrow, or in 6 years, 5 years, whatever, it's going to happen. Number two, I would say, is knowledge. Equip yourself with knowledge. Learn the art of sales, the art of real sales, not trying to pressure someone.
Top
into
3
buying
books.
something.
Sorry, just like top 3 books that you would recommend for sales.
Number one, it's a mindset book.
Yeah, it doesn't all have to be strictly sales, but something to improve your sales.
I would read It's All in Your Head by Russ.
Okay.
I would read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And then I would read Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
Those are the 3 books. And you want to specify your knowledge, right? When I was growing up in the entrepreneurship space, I was just reading general books. But if you want to say get into real estate, Forex, Amazon, you want to find someone that's doing exactly what you're doing and figure out a way to mirror them. Pay them for a course, work for them for free, just watch their YouTube videos if you don't have money. But really equip yourself with the knowledge, because I'm not just this guy that knows how to get you to sign a listing agreement or pay for a coaching program. I can actually coach you. I can actually sell your house for as much money as possible. So in order for you to do that, you can't just be a good salesman. You got to know what the fuck you're doing on the back end. So equip yourself with knowledge, self-belief, and the third one is as simple as just don't give up, man. It's not going to happen overnight. If you're young right now, there's so many different ways to make money. It's a blessing and a curse, because you can focus on one thing and make a lot of money, or you can get distracted and say, oh my God, this guy over here on Instagram, because it's hard for me to stay on course sometimes, because we make a lot of money in the real estate game, right? But then you have people like, I follow him a lot, Lambo Raul, right? FXG Alex. These guys are Forex traders, and these guys are fucking they have 8 cars in the law, and they're younger than me. And I'm like, damn, should I just do trading? But it's like, nah, chill, because they're doing their thing. They probably had a grind of 7, 8, 9, 10 years that we don't even know about. We're in our process. We're in our journey. So don't get distracted with all the other things. If you want to do Forex, do Forex. If you want to do Amazon FBA, do Amazon FBA. If you want to do real estate, do real estate. But the people that really made it, look at Patrick Bet-David, look at Andrew Tate, look at Hormozy. These people were people that no one knew about 10 years ago, and they were grinding under the scenes. No social media, and they were just at it. They didn't really do Forex and Amazon FBA. They did, for Alex, it was gyms. For Patrick Bet-David, it was whatever business he did. But they focused at it for fucking 10 plus years, bro. You understand what I'm saying? So I got to tell myself sometimes, like, yo, you're only walking into year 4 and you're already a top 1% sales volume producer in the nation. But with people like me, bro, and people like you that are ambitious, it's hard to like calm down. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's a position of always wanting more.
Yeah.
And it's good.
It's never gonna
but
be
it's
enough. It's a curse.
I think it's a blessing and a curse, because 100%. Like how you said, right? To main focus on one thing. Try not to look to the left and right?
So hard.
How do you say it? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Mhm.
That will always be true. And then another biblical thing is that idleness is the devil's playground. So you can't be idle either. You can't just say, oh, well, I'm not, since they have all this, so I can't do that. But at the same time, you can't look into the other person and say, well, look, bam, man, they have this, they have that. You don't know, bro. Their realm may be different. So I think that is powerful. And a quote that I heard the other day that I stuck with me, right? It said, everybody should try to become a billionaire. Everybody should try to become the top salesman. Not for the money, but for the person it requires you to become.
Correct.
Then give away all the money, and then see the type of man that you are, woman that you are. Like I said, you're not in the position where you want to be, right? You're a hell of a lot further than where you were. But I truly think in the macro 5-10 years, you're going to be like Daniel G level. Truly, I see that.
Dan, that's crazy that you say that, bro, because we got some shit in the works.
I do see that. I truly do see that. But who do you think you need to become to get there?
The person that I'm becoming today. So I figured that out earlier this year. I think it was like, I'm mentally, I think, smart enough to get all these things right. Why am I not there? And it's because if you want to drive a G-Wagon, you got to become the person that drives a G-Wagon. What does that person do? What are they mentally, right? When I first, to give you some insight, right, for those people that don't know me, probably most people don't know me right now. When I first started making money, I probably misspent a lot of it, right? So I'm at probably over $1 million in GCI in the first 3 years, and I might have misspent some of that money, right? So that was a blessing because I can look at it, as a curse, right? You've made all this money and you might not have all that to show for it, but it was a blessing because now I understand that if I'm going to make 6 figures, 7 figures a month at some point in my life, I got to learn how to manage money. So now I'm just focused on process oriented things. I don't really care about results. I'm just focused on what is that person that's going to be Daniel G level, speaking in front of thousands of people, educating people, handling, crazy finances. Who is that person, right? Who is that person mentally? How emotionally intelligent are they? And how can they handle all those things around me? So I'm just getting myself ready for what's to come. I'm becoming that person first, and then the results will follow, bro. Because it's already been, the concept's already been proven for me. I've already visually gone there to everything that I have now, which is not much, but I'm very grateful for. But now I'm just trying to become the person mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally that I have to be in order to be able to handle what I want. Because my vision's big, bro. My vision is 10x Daniel G's vision. And he's crushing. He's actually my favorite salesperson. We've met a few times. We've talked. That's why I said funny you mentioned that, because something's in the works there, which is gonna be dope. But he's on another level.
Yeah.
And his energy level is what I aspire to be. A lot of people say that when I train, they're like, oh, Daniel G. And I was like, of course I know Daniel G. They're like, oh, you train similar to him. It's because that's who I follow. I'm in his university. I follow his trainings, and his energy is insane, right? But if you ask him, I'm pretty sure he had to become the person he is now, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, to be able to go and take 4 red-eye flights, 6 days back to back, and just serve other people, right? So you got to really become that person way before it happens. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think that if they just do, so I go back to this TEAR mindset, thoughts, emotions, actions, results. If people just do the A and the R, they're not going to get the R. You got to do the THTEAR. You got to have the thoughts in order. You got to have your emotions in order. You got to put in the right action, and then you have the results, right? Yeah. So, bro, I think it's just becoming that person way before
the results come last. That's something that
results come last, and when the results come and you lose it, and you lose the results, the only way to get the results back is to connect the dots backwards, not forward. You got to rewire your thoughts. It's all generated from here, brother. And I learned that from Neno. Neno's another great speaker that I've had the pleasure of hearing him train twice. And he taught us the TEAR mindset. You got to have your thoughts and your emotions in order for your actions and results to be aligned with your goals.
To be a leader in anything you are, whether you're a boyfriend, you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in school, whatever it is, right? I think it's important to be a leader. But I think something very powerful from your story is the resilience from, like, you had to go from the 15 to 23 of eating shit pretty much. Like, I wouldn't say eating shit because you were learning.
I was grinding my ass off.
You were grinding, but nothing ever hit until you got the real estate. And then now you got the academy. So I think it's once, like how you said, once you get the snowball going, that's the hardest part. The 5-year window, the 10-year window, that's the hardest spot. But afterwards, then that's when it automates. That's when it automates and you just can't stop it, right?
Right.
And so I say that because you're at a point now where it's like, it's going to be hard to stop you. I don't think you're stopping anytime soon. And I think this podcast is going to age well. The things that you said are going to age well. The person that you are becoming, you are the person that you need to become to reach the status that you want to reach. And that's why I think this is so interesting. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it out there. I definitely learned a lot. If you guys want to see some of the clips, check out the Instagram, brother. Anything else you want to leave off on?
No, man. I appreciate you having me on here. Something as simple as this was things that I dreamt about 3, 4, 5 years ago. Having my own studio in my house and being able to be on a platform with someone like-minded is a blessing, man. At the end of the day, the biggest thing I would honestly leave you guys with is just believe in yourselves. I know it sounds simple and it gets difficult because, trust me, I know the difficulties within entrepreneurship, but if you truly believe, brother, and you just try one more time and you don't give up, I'm just a story of someone that tried one more time and didn't give up. And even now, even now, then, like, I'll fail at a bunch of things and I'll get up and I'll try one more time. I'll leave it on this. Back then, I would get down for a long period of time, 3 months, 4 months. Now I have a bad moment, something that didn't go well, and I'll be like, damn, fuck, and I'll get down for 30 minutes, an hour. I'll take a quick nap, get right back up on my feet. Now my mind is just wired differently because once you get that snowball rolling, it's hard to stop it, right? But I don't want people to, if someone's on the outside looking in of entrepreneurship, I don't want you to walk into this thinking that this is some fucking walk in the park. This is, even when you've quote unquote made it to a certain level and you're making certain income, the problems get bigger. The stress gets heavier. Money does not equal time. Money equals the opposite. So you got to find a way to create a business that equals time freedom, because right now I have no time, but I love doing this shit, right? But little by little, you got to create a business that gives you that time back. So just believe in yourself, man, and don't give up.
And I think another thing to leave off on is being patient in the macro, right? You're not going to get the results 10 years, but the speed and now. You have to do these podcasts. You have to post these reels. You have to get back to the agency. You have to stay up at this time to finish this. You crossing off your to-do list, right? Doing that every day. The speed in that, but the patience in the long run. I think that's what your story is an example of. But brother, thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, bro.
Bro, this was a mastermind for sure, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna tag everything. I'm gonna tag your academy, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, everything you got. I'm gonna tag it so you guys can check it out. Make sure to check it out because I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call it. Timestamp, okay? And 5 to 10 years in the macro, even 3, I don't know. 5 to 10 years, this guy's gonna be the next top salesman. He's gonna be a staple in the industry. I'm calling it. I'm just gonna put it out there, okay? But thank you guys so much for watching it. And if you did make it to the end, check all the links, check out the Instagram, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Take care.